In the spirit of what Moriel said about how if you put a bunch of poems together, you have to find a title, this is called Maybe, a collection of love letters. This first one is called Jesus Was a Carpenter, you know. Jesus was a carpenter, you know, but I don't think anyone taught him how to use a staple gun. The safety goes off when it's pressed up against something else. Everything's a poem. Only then, with safety gone, can you pull the trigger to any lasting effect. And I do. The gunshot of a staple echoes in my ears. Such a tiny thing makes such a loud sound. Jesus was a carpenter, you know, but I don't think he ever felt like this. Pressed up against you under the risers, not making out like teens at a football game, but making scenery, fastening bolts on opposite sides of the banister, and there's no room to be far apart. My heartbeat echoes in my chest. Such a tiny thing makes such a loud sound. Jesus was a carpenter, you know, and you look just like the paintings. Sweeping bangs cascade down strong shoulders, but Jesus didn't really look like you, and you're not interested in anyone who looks like me. I think it's time I start praying at another altar. Thank you. This one's called Aces and Eights. It is a massive rewrite of Near Life Experience based on Moriel wanting danger and Alex thinking it was a multiple choice quiz. Aces and Eights. Spin the wheel and choose your fate. Sorry, every road is death. The illusion of free will and all that. Choice number 1, mauled by a grizzly bear. See pearly whites and then see pearly gates. Or not. Choice number 2, struck by lightning. That one's exciting. It makes you unique, right? Actually, no. You'd be one of 2,000 this year. Sorry. Choice number 3, drown in Honduras. A little girl stands on your shoulders weighing you down. At least she gets to see the stars first, before she's shuffled off to therapy to deal with shuffling you off this earth because the dealer shuffled one bad hand, toppling you like a house of cards, collapsing you in on yourself. Knocked out by a club, a spade pierces your heart. Au revoir, my diamond in the rough. Woo! And sidebar, the title of that one, I googled poker terms, and a 2 pair of aces and eights is called a dead man's hand, so I thought that was cool.
Is that like a losing hand?
I don't know. I don't play poker.
I don't know.
This one's called Unnatural Disaster. There's a hurricane with your name on it tearing a path through the Caribbean islands. And it feels kind of insensitive to start a poem like that, but all I can think when I look in the news is, that's you. Blood spills in the streets, as red as your hair, a waterfall pouring from the cut of your cheekbones. Your eyes sliced like broken glass. I drank the whole bottle and still I was parched. The wind of your hurricane whipped up my life, uprooting everything without care, without thought, blissfully unaware of the effect you had on me, on others too. I was scared and confused till I knew what you were, then no longer confused but still just as scared. In fact, maybe more so. And I never saw your face, but I always pictured you scowling.
Power on.
Sorry. And that's fine. And I never saw your face, but I always pictured you scowling. Terribly red lips all a jumble. But that made it all the more special when you smiled or laughed, and your glass eyes lit up, and you broke into a peal of uplifting, enlightening sunshine laughter, greeting a new glorious day, cleansed by the rain, the morning after a terrible hurricane. Thank you. This one is called Pneumatic Staple Gun. I wish I could take up more space in the mornings. At 9:30, I'm the only director who isn't getting a degree in directing, although I tried to once sophomore year and they just wouldn't let me. Anyway. At 11, I'm the one in stage combat whose arms aren't muscle thick, whose voice holds no hint of bass. I lift aluminum swords and not steel, so I gain a catchphrase, the request of a favor. Sorry, can one of you switch? You can't use steel on aluminum after all. It'll break. Then one afternoon, I trade sword for drill. I start to make a joke, but stop myself. Sorry, I was about to make a joke, but I thought you'd get mad. What was the joke? Okay, so I tell it, and everyone laughs. And wow. And with light streaming through the 16th floor windows, I think I can be myself today. Maybe I should start carrying a drill in the mornings. This one's called Press from the Shadows, 5 a.m. It's a revision of Blackout poetry that we did, and because it's a revision, I get to use whatever words I want. Okay, Press from the Shadows, 5 a.m. As Adam ambled along in the garden, Eve lined up her shot and cracked the whip. A new breed roams the earth. Their traditional shift: function, build, drive. They cross the desert, hundreds and thousands of them. Several are being subsumed. There has been a blurring of the line. They follow an aggressive dictator, although receiving threats. Stop. Simply stop. Turn from Adam. Turn towards her. Pave the way for your true creator. Thank you. And this is the final one. It's called 833. Day 1. The movement of pencil drawn in marker on a forbidden whiteboard. Try to write a really bad poem. We don't need to know what we're saying. We don't need to know what we're doing. Whatever remains, remains. Whatever doesn't, doesn't. In life, we all have one or two things to say. We spend life constantly trying to say them. We never will figure it out. 2. Ivy and Bean, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. Kraft sends his last tape. John Butler discovers stillness. The guest house is covered with yellow wallpaper. The house is a body. Some poem that goes, we are made of thousands of memories and people. That's a poem in itself. That one Ray Bradbury story, you know the one? Something about time travel or a dinosaur? Charlie tells the Fordham story, I share an orange. In poetry, everything is a welcome guest. Here's to bookshelves full of what we haven't read yet. 3. This packet felt written by writers. Does that make any sense? They really care about what they're saying. They're sad back to back to back to back. Imagery can take you to a bright place, then a dark cloud. A kid crying in the aisle at Petco. Thank you for the clarification. Make the darkness bearable. 4. A trip to Conn Park. One rickety table, light through the trees. 5. Villanelle Day. A peach makes you gay. Ill-fitting shoes and cold chicken. I've never written this poem before. Let's make a beautiful mess. 6. Workshop 1. Neglection of self, repetition. Say it out loud and see how it sounds. Phoebe Bridgers, Billie Eilish. Prose precedes and verse reverses. This is not a love poem. Format like a holy text. Pick me, choose me, but also fuck you. These are, unfortunately, about a man. Sometimes our endings are 2 stanzas up from where we thought it was. Let's not kill anything, love and hope. It always has decayed, hopelessness. I Know It's Over by Jeff Buckley. Friday night with your friends, drunk out of your mind in places you shouldn't be. My 3 a.m. self wrote these sad with instrumental music on in the background, she says with a smile on her face that makes us smile too. If there's a poem you're excited about, write it 3 separate ways. 7. Workshop 2. The world is blue as an orange. The cake's not here, but I'm still smelling it. Are you? Quotations are extraneous when a poem is already spoken. Depression isn't black, it's blue. It's not final, it's changeable. The form holds the content. Fight against the urge to title literally. Leave it weird and big and up to interpretation. That small child is going to hell. Purgatio, a place of suffering or a cleanse. The separation of action versus what you are. Changing yourself for another person. Torn between death and a wedding. Ball of the dead rat by the teeth. Writing our dreams gives us control over them. Poems as dark ritual, incantations, insert death grips lyrics here. The inevitable is the pinch of childhood. The final 2 lines sum up the poem itself. 8. Time for an exercise. Write down all the things you'd never tell anyone, not even yourself. Write a poem and then write what you remember about it. An album recommendation. Set My Heart on Fire Immediately, Perfume Genius. Writing can be prefigurative. Moriel will be in Lancaster on November 2nd. Say hello to the Amish. Ink boogers on the mind, laughter in the hallway. It's a pity to have pity. 9. 3 ingredients for a poem. A moment in the natural world, at least 1 human character, a religious or spiritual spin. Let's get cooking. 10. The Father, the Son, and multiple spirits. A hole punch in Staples. It's Christmas in 833. 11. Tracy K. Smith, The Slowdown. Philly, Eddie's Tattoo, Nico. Self-Control, Frank Ocean. Pablo Picasso, Citizen Cope. 12. Stephen Kleinman says the following. 1. Poetry is like horror. The longer you continue without a logical break, the more you build tension. 2. There are only 4 sentences in the world. If you spend 10 minutes learning them on Wikipedia, I promise it will be 10 minutes well spent. 3. 2 things can be true at once. I already knew this, but it's nice to be reminded. 4. You cannot communicate a complex idea in a simple sentence. Is that a challenge? 5. Poetry is like a snare drum. Take what you learned in 1st grade and come back with adult eyes. 6. Birds flocking are the best thing in the world. Finally, 1 poem for all of us. 2 signs say park. Park. A bus signals right. 4 flags stand still at attention. There are 11 windows on each floor. I know, I counted them. The past exists among the present. How are you a structure? I couldn't tell you. If I stand, I'm moving. If I'm still, I'm moving. I'm only not moving when I'm dead. But today, in this room, I'm alive. Poetry gives itself to you in the first line. Day 1, the movement of pencil, drawn in marker on a forbidden whiteboard. Thank you.